In the biggest games, sometimes the most memorable moment has nothing to do with the final score. In the 2026 Women's Final Four, with everything on the line, the real drama didn't unfold during a game-winning shot, but after the game was already decided. We're going to break down that intense sideline moment between two absolute coaching giants, Staley and Geno Auriemma. All right, let's get into it.
0.8. That is how much time was left on the clock. Less than a single second. The game was, for all intents and purposes, over. The winner was clear. And yet, this is the exact moment the drama kicked off. It's amazing how so much controversy can ignite in such a tiny sliver of time.
So that's the big question here, right? In a game that was already in the books, why would these two icons get into a heated argument on the sideline? I mean, South Carolina had a commanding lead over UConn. What could have possibly been so important? To really get to the bottom of that, you have to understand the two people at the center of it all. And believe me, they don't get any bigger than these two. We are talking about legendary figures in college basketball, true titans of the sport, each with their own very, very distinct style and legacy. The contrast between them really is what fuels this incredible rivalry. On one side, you have Staley. She's the mastermind behind that unbelievable, undefeated South Carolina dynasty. She's known for this cool, calm intensity and for having this incredibly deep, loyal bond with her players. Then on the other side, there's Geno Auriemma, the architect of the UConn empire. A total legend, famous for his fiery, super demanding approach that has cranked out championship after championship. So two very different ways of doing things, both wildly successful. And on this night, they were just bound to collide.
Okay, so let's get right to the moment itself. Let's break down exactly what happened and see how this thing went from a routine end-of-game formality to a huge national talking point.
And here's the thing that makes this whole situation so wild. Look at the score, 62-48, a 14-point win for South Carolina. This was not a buzzer beater, not a nail-biter by any stretch. The outcome was completely sealed. Those last few seconds should have just been a countdown to the handshakes. But they weren't.
So here's the play-by-play. The clock is ticking down. Victory for South Carolina is a sure thing. Then, with just that fraction of a second left, a foul gets called on UConn. For Geno Auriemma, this was apparently just unnecessary, an unacceptable call in a game that's already over. He gets visibly upset, and that's when the cameras catch him in a really heated exchange with Staley right there on the sideline just before that final buzzer sounded.
Of course, a moment like that between two legends, it never just ends on the court. In the press conferences and the media frenzy that followed, the story took on a life of its own, and we really saw three very different points of view emerge from the whole thing.
So first up, you have Staley's perspective, which was all about focus. When the reporters asked her about it, she just completely shut it down. She wasn't going to touch it. For her, the national championship game was just days away, and any energy spent on a sideline spat was a total waste. She just refused to add any fuel to the fire and kept the spotlight right where she wanted it, on her team's incredible win.
Now, Geno Auriemma's side of it, based on what people saw and reported, was that his frustration was really aimed at the officials. The issue wasn't the loss itself, but what he saw as a violation of an unwritten rule of basketball. You just don't make that kind of call with less than a second left in a blowout. From his point of view, it was about the principle of how a game should be managed right down to the very end.
And then you get the third perspective, from the outside looking in. WNBA legend and TV analyst Lisa Leslie, she did not mince words. She went on air and basically demanded an apology from Geno. She framed his conduct not as a dispute with the refs, but as a completely inappropriate display toward another coach. Her view really represented a lot of people who felt that, no matter the reason, legends like him are just held to a higher standard of sportsmanship. So you might be thinking, why does an argument that lasted less than a second matter so much? Well, it matters because it's a perfect snapshot of everything that makes sports so compelling. It's always about way more than just what happens on the scoreboard.
This tiny moment captured everything. I mean, you've got the immense pressure cooker atmosphere of the Final Four, where every little thing is magnified. You've got the fiery, passionate personalities of two coaches who live and breathe this game. It instantly adds this spicy new chapter to the already great rivalry between South Carolina and UConn. And it sparked a huge debate about sportsmanship. You know, what does that even look like in the final meaningless seconds of a game? And that's really what we're left with. Was this just the intense passion of a legendary coach boiling over in a moment of frustration? Or was it a breach of conduct that actually crossed the line? There's no easy answer here, but one thing is absolutely for sure. The rivalry between two of the game's greatest minds just got a whole lot more